Welcome, everyone. As I should say, all right. Welcome to another episode of Agents Influence, Conversations with Jason Cass. Now, what's crazy is, as you know, when I do Agents Influence, that's usually someone who's in the insurance industry, but is like not in an agency, right? But this guy, Mr. Peter MacDonald, CEO of Wunderite, truly has only been a CEO for 2, 3, 4 years. He can tell us that, but he's been an agent for the rest of his time. His parents owned an agency. This dude knows what's up. If you really want to see something, you're probably listening to this. I don't know. Today is July 13th. So you're probably listening to this around August sometime. Be sure to go back. You can see our trip that we had to Key West. You can go to LinkedIn. And I shared a video that Peter did, and it was probably 2 minutes long. And he didn't know I was recording, and he's standing on a chair. And he is telling his thing that he used to do for commercial, and we won't go into that right now. But it was amazing. And so many people have reached out to me being like, wow, he has like an absolute system for everything. And he does. So it's kind of an agency intelligence because he's in the agency. He knows what's up. It's kind of an agent's influence, but this is what it really is. It's a chat between two friends, and you get to listen in. Peter MacDonald, welcome to Agents Influence, brother.
Great to be here, man. Great to see you down there in Key West. And yeah, I guess 2022, you never know who's recording, so watch out.
Yeah, that's true. It's some good shit, right? If you'd have started cussing and dropping F-bombs and stuff, I might have not shared it. Well, I still would have, man. Actually,
you definitely would have shared it. Yeah,
of course.
I was the guy in the selfie, the guy in the group photo taking a selfie, and Dave shared that photo because he's like, this will boost engagement. So it's all about the numbers, you know?
It's all about the numbers. It's all about eyeballs a lot of times and ears. Hey, so everybody knows, Peter and I used to, where we truly met was, legislative. Peter,
that's right.
We have a true, a lot of you loyal listeners, you started in 2013 or more recent, don't know that was actually when I kind of ended what I did. About 04 to 2012. I was working with the big guy and not working with them. I had an agency, but Peter and I, he was in a different, obviously, state, but his state would come to D.C. and usually in April. Illinois would go there in April, and we'd have a lobbying week. We'd go see our politicians, you could say our senators, our congresspeople, and we'd just give them, usually there were 4 or 5 topics that we would talk about. They would educate us in those. A lot of more insurance topics formed. And then we would go in and talk. And people, Peter, they don't realize how powerful it is when you go spend 10 minutes with your senator because they really want to know. The loyal listeners, they're getting ready to go make votes on something that you're educating them on, and you're the agent, and it's an insurance thing. Like, they want to know. And even their aides are the most important people to talk to because they're really the ones telling him. Peter, tell us about that time. Was that not an electric time for us, man?
Yeah, no, I did it 5 years in a row. My sister, who's the controller at the family agency, she just did it earlier this year. I miss it. I loved it. You know, it's a great time to get together with a great swath of agencies from across the country. And it's not just you going to your lawmaker. It's, hey, a constituent from that person's home district is meeting with him or her in D.C., but it's every single senator and every single congressperson in the country. Mm-hmm. And if not them, it's their aides. And they're all going with a unified voice, 3 to 5 talking points, flood insurance, crop insurance,
tort reform,
terrorism insurance, tort reform, cross-state agency licensing, NARAB too, if you know what that means. Super important for us agency. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And it's, I think as far as thinking through how the industry works, big picture, it's a great thing to do. And so if you're complaining about politics, watching the news, go get involved. Mm-hmm. I'm no one but to blame but yourself if you're not doing something to move your industry forward at least part of the time. And I think, Jason, you and I have put some time in there, and maybe I'll put some time in the future as well.
Yeah, we should, man. I was just thinking about that. You and I should make a commitment that in the next 3 years that we go back and do that, and we take some agents with us, especially these agents who aren't involved in the Big I or the PIA, which that's their own reason it is. But I've said forever, that is their main leg that they should stand on. That's where they have influence. A lot of people don't know, guys, that loyal listeners, anybody that has a PAC, a political action committee that raises $1 million or more in DC, you're somebody. You get heard, you get listened to, and that's something we achieved 10 years ago, 12, 13 years ago, and that puts us up there really big. And here's what I like to say and end. That's not what this is for, but it's important. decisions are being made in DC that affect your life and your business. You can either be a part of those conversations or you cannot. And it's hard for you to be in your agency and being a part of those. This is why you send to your political action committee $100, $500 a year, whatever, and they're voting and they're making decisions that are based on the independent agent. It's usually the Independent Agents and Brokers of America that goes through. It's called InsurePAC. So INSURPAC. You can find it anywhere, and you need to go out there and donate because especially in this world. I mean, there's people in there that don't like insurance and don't like business in today's world, man, and we need people protecting us.
They want federal regulation. They want to change the way that you do business. They want to, change the rules of the game. I think, look, big picture, InsurePAC, it's the most bipartisan PAC that I'm aware of. Jason, I'm actually going to be speaking at the Young Agents Leadership Conference in September in Niagara Falls. So it's going to be a great time. We're going to talk about sales automation in front of young agents from across the country. It's the annual national conference with the big I. So pretty excited about that.
So you used to be an agent, and then you got into the legislative. You're doing all this stuff. You're living up there in Nantucket. Am I right? I always say the wrong one. Which one?
I'm on Cape Cod. Nantucket is just a ways away, but exactly, up by the ocean.
Peter's going to say, Jason, how many times I got to tell you, dude, it's not Nantucket, and I always forget Cape Cod. Anyways, he's up there. He's doing his thing, and here's my question to you, Peter. Now you're the CEO of this company called Wunderite. You've come full circle now. You have a huge belief in this. Your partner, Joe Schneer.
Yep.
Did I say it right?
You got it. You got it right.
I thought of the drum, right? And I had to think of that. Yeah. You guys have created this. Tell us about Wunderite. Where'd the name come from? Give us the spiel, dude. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, look, big picture. You can tell I'm loyal to the industry. I love the industry. My dad has his agency. We still talk every week, and I talk to his crew. I think independent agents aren't going anywhere, and I think that independent agents need best-in-class tools to make their jobs easier. And I think those tools weren't being built. I think you may have heard before, people talk about insurance as a necessary evil. And it's like this, they don't want to talk to you. They joke about like, hey, the insurance guy walks into the party and everybody walks the other direction, right? Ever heard that one? And I was so frustrated by that. I'm like, this is an amazing product. My first daughter was born 6 weeks early. And I believe insurance is wonderful. And so I wanted to bring some of the wonder back to underwriting. So the name is a combination of wonder, which is the German word for miraculous, and underwrite, which is this thing that was created in London, Lloyd's of London, where you would literally write your name beneath a ship's voyage list. And if you wanted to back it, they're going to go from London to Bermuda or wherever, and they were going to be shipping whatever goods and have some sort of a crew. That's kind of where the name comes from. So what does Wunderite do? Got to have a solid name. So the main thing that Wunderite does is we make insurance applications, supplementals, and accords easier. I think right now they slow us down as producers, as agency owners. They're clunky. It's really a negative touch point for customers in 2022, where you're telling them, hey, I'm just sending you this email. Just open up this thing and fill it out. And it's hard to train a staff who literally was born with an iPhone in hand. Mm-hmm. And now you're like, hey guys, welcome to how the world was 10, 15 years ago. Amen. So at Wunderite, we built the easy button for PDFs, supplementals, accords, property schedules. We have this digital forms library, thousands and thousands of forms, new business apps, renewal apps. You can be completing these in seconds, collaboratively with your customers. And, Jason, we quietly released just a few weeks back. If people are listening to this in August, it's probably in general release now. But we have the easy button. You click this button and it literally fills in the application for you. We're making tremendous.
Unbelievable. People are they're just excited about this, Peter. All right.
Yeah, no, we're thrilled. We're thrilled. So that's kind of the high level on Wunderite.
Yeah, and dude, it is. And I'll tell you, back when we first got with you, well, we were early adopters because I knew Peter. We'd kind of talked. You'd hit me a couple times in the last year, and you were hitting me and, hey, Cass, what do you think about this? And I had no idea what you were doing. And I think it. Back when we started with you in October and November, if we took a document and we wanted to have it digitized, that was going to take 5 to 10 days. Today, we've sent you 2 documents and you guys had them done literally by the end of the day. And that was so helpful for our producer who needed to get that supplement in for that cyber, right? And so that was really cool. Also, I teach my team that you guys should just search for it, because whether it's our app or not, it's probably already in there. You guys are doing a fantastic job on that. We're right now tickling around with your e-sig, because we do have some things that we're trying to look at to say, hey, can we leave DocuSign? We're sitting looking at and analyzing what if we do this task, how is it better if it's this? You guys really, once again, having your thought power behind this as an agent is really, really been effective. I can't tell you the data points that you guys pull over are way better than they were 6 months ago. And I imagine as data gets better, easier to pull, it's only going to get better, because that is a key thing. The VIN tool that you have in there that we use all the time. And loyal listeners, I want you to know I'm not reading a list or anything. These are just things that I see my producers who I train. And I want to say this, and you, Peter, I want to give it back to you, but it's important. Other people who have heard me speak on stage know this stuff. But I had my 2 22-year-old producers who are now 23, and I had taught them the way that I had done it. You know, like, here's how you get loss runs. Here's how you fill out Accord apps. And it was very old school. And Peter and loyal listeners, I'll be honest with you, I didn't realize how old school my way was until they started doing it and was so frustrated. They had these applications over here, this over here. And so we go, and it's in November. I got Wunderite, because finally at the IAOA, you were like, Cass, we're going to get this. You're going to do it. I give it to them, and within like 3 weeks, they're turning around in their chairs looking at me going, are you freaking serious? Like, this is what we've been telling you we wanted. And even though they were telling me they wanted, I still hadn't put it together in my head. And that told me right there, Peter, and Peter, you've heard that story millions of times, but that told me right there that I was like, oh shit, this thing's got some legs under it. If these 2 young cats are going, that way sucks, this way's awesome. Thoughts about that, buddy?
Yeah, no, look, 100%. I think one of my points I talk to people about is ditch the vocabulary in the business, like ditch the lexicon of crazy terms. We have a tendency to make this industry so complicated when it's really so basic. And I think that with the legacy tools that we've all been using for a while, it's like they make it complicated. And some people probably like feeling superior because they know the answer to how to calculate an EMOD or like whatever the thing is. And it's like, hey, look, you should be able to get somebody out of college today and be like, here are the 3 things that you need to do. You know, generate an appointment, make a good impression, start gathering this info. That's all you need to do. And we're going to win deals, and you're going to make a lot of money and have a fantastic career.
That's right.
We wanted to make that whole part of the process just easier as far as the data gathering, rather than trying to like make it complex and, you know, confusing.
I mean, it's one of those things where I said that, I said it in, I mean, that's why everybody, you know, I know I'm stuttering a lot here, but I got a lot going through my head. Billy Ventura says that I'm your fanboy, right? Here I am posting your videos. You can also find another one. You said a very good quote when I was sitting across the table from you. We were having a beer or something, and you said making technology easy is really hard, right? And that just goes back to what you were just saying right there. And so I totally feel you in that, brother. I totally feel you. And I actually would not want to have your job. I love technology, but to have to think about all that stuff, I applaud you. And thank God there's people like yourself that want to take that on. And then let's also not throw, let's throw here, it's just, this isn't Peter's thing here. This is Joe's as well. How'd you and Joe meet?
Yeah, and it's Joe and it's the team. Like, we have a fantastic team.
True.
We have people who've been, you know, selectively look for people who've been in the industry. I think you were down there with our friend Dylan.
Yeah.
Came from, you know, killer producer at a top national carrier.
Good dude.
Wanted people who are just great energy and, you know, also know what it's like to have to knock on 100 doors and get rejected. And then, okay, I've knocked on the door. I got someone who's interested. How do I close that deal? So it's a great team that's doing this together. So Joe, your question with Joe, like, how do we meet? What's his, I mean.
Yeah. How did you meet? Like, because I know you have the brains behind it, but he doesn't have insurance background, right?
Yeah, so Joe and I met literally on the first day of business school in Boston, 2017.
Well, see, I didn't even.
And I think, there you go. And Joe and I both came from family business backgrounds. Our family businesses were very similar, about 20, 25 people, 2 locations. They were both like that. While I sold insurance, Joe was running a business in the construction space, and he was like looking at all the things that their company did to figure out how can I make our business better and more efficient. Insurance was one of the things that when he looked at it, he's like, this is like the 22-year-old guys you're chatting with about your team. Like, this is super confusing. This doesn't make any sense. And so insurance was one of those things that was a challenging area, and he knew there had to be an easier way to do insurance. And so I started telling Joe, like, hey, look at these mock-ups. I've had this idea for a few years. I was telling all my classmates in business school, I'm like, this is something I want to build. Joe didn't believe me at first. He's like, Peter, I'm telling you, there is a solution for this. And at the time, again, this was like 2017. There wasn't really much in the market. And if there was, it was super early. We talked to over 100 agencies. And I think by then, Joe realized, like, oh my gosh, like every single agency has the same pain point, the same frustrations. And the more we dig, the more we listen, it's like, this is just the beginning. Like, there's so many problems that can be made easier with technology. And so, I think that was the point where Joe was like, he knew there was something here. It's funny. I look back, we graduated in 2019. Joe and I agreed we'd give ourselves 1 year to make this happen. We weren't going to take a salary. We were doing this full time, which, if you graduate in the top percentiles of your MBA class, you can go get a job at a lot of good places. And so we were both taking a pretty big, risk in some senses. I could have gone back to the family business. Joe's dad, ended up selling his family business. We gave ourselves 1 year, and I look back now and I'm like, what was Joe thinking to join? Because it was just so early, you look back now and it was like, there was belief and like this idea, this vision. We had some software, but it was early software. The software we have today, like literally July 2022, is like even way better than it was 3 months ago. I mean, the pace at which we ship new stuff, it's awesome. So anyway, I look back and about how we met, and it's been a good partnership. Couldn't do it without Joe. Best thing ever was having a business partner.
I agree.
Who's better than you at so many things.
So many times you hear people say that about, before in 2015 when Travis and I were going to join, and then in 2016 him and I got together, I called, I won't say the agents, but I called some pretty big agents that I knew had partners. And I said to them, hey, what would you say would be, would you agree? Would you do this again? Almost every one of them told me no, dude. They told me that they wouldn't do it again. And I don't know if it's because they were maybe at the end of their career and they're thinking, man, I got to lose half the money to this person or whatever. But one thing that Travis and I agreed on from the very get-go is that we would at least be able to do twice as much, each other do twice as much, just by having the other person. Now, what Travis and I didn't realize is we literally fit each other like a glove. I mean, our opposites are crazy. And I have never looked back on it. And I really, truly haven't. I don't think I want another one, because now that does start to deplete my ownership and stuff like that. But I believe that it's one of the best things ever. And it's so good to hear you say that, Peter. Really is.
Oh, it's been if nothing else, it's fantastic having a great business partner, and I know that could be just so transformational in your business. It's like 1 + 1 = 3.
And when you trust them, it's so great to know, like, hey, I don't really have to make this decision on my own. Right? That's the thing.
100%.
Because, dude, you're making some big-ass decisions. Loyal listeners, at your agency, you're making some big-ass decisions. And it's good to help you, have somebody help you there. I agree with that. So
he tells me I'm wrong. I mean, like, how many times you want to get on social and talk bad about something that you're frustrated about or whatever, or, just share your opinion. And it's like, hey, let me just check this by someone real quick who knows everything, all the context. And it's like, hey, strategically, like, let's just do something different.
Very well said. Someone who knows all the context. That's the important part, right? And that's good. I love that. Man, you're just spitting shit out, bro. You're just going to have somebody just follow you around and just say, hey, whenever I say something, like Gary V, do it and switch the camera.
I'm looking for that person right now. Yeah. So if you know somebody, one of the books I've been reading is Founder Brand, and it talks about, like, who's that person, build that founder brand. I don't know if we're there yet, but maybe in the future. So
Yeah, for real. For real, especially right now in the summer. I mean, we're already halfway through it, but having kids or having young people coming from photography school or whatever. I thought about it too. I just didn't. I'll be honest. I didn't know what the heck. Like, I'm in my office. I go on appointments. I mean, I just can't walk.
You go to Key West. You're fishing. You're in Kansas City at the brewery we were at together.
That, I guess I could do that. Because I'm thinking them following me all day, and I'm thinking, man, I can't take them to a $300,000 account, you know? But then I could.
You and I were in a golf cart at the southernmost point of the country together, touring around Key West. I mean,
it was beautiful.
Catching tuna. I mean, like, it was a good time.
It was absolutely great.
This is the life of an insurance agent. Can you imagine what that's going to do for your recruiting?
Dude, it is the life of an insurance agent. I think of that, man. When we were heading 35 miles offshore, I'm sitting there in the front just looking ahead, and I'm thinking to myself, like, where did you come from? You know what I mean? I say it before, dude. I've said this on my Cuba trips. I can put up with Cuba breakfast, which is a little round cracker with this thin bread, this thin butter put on it. And I've recorded myself and put it on my Facebook before that, like, this is what I used to eat for a couple months when I was like in third grade. Like, we was poor as shit. Like, we lived in a trailer that lived on a dump. There was a dump right behind us. We had rats and all kinds of stuff. And then here I am sitting on this thing, you know, didn't even pay for it myself. You know, IPFS and Wunderite and stuff paid for this stuff. And here I am heading out to catch mahi-mahi with my family. I mean, I think the 21-year-old Jason would have been like, all right, dude, yeah, okay, you actually did this shit we thought of when we were drunk and stoned at a young age.
Hell yeah.
You know? So
you've done amazing stuff for the industry, Jason. I mean, from the legislative stuff to building up the whole following you have and the multiple different companies. I know you have maybe some new ones in the works. I mean, you've done a lot of cool stuff. You're an entrepreneur at its core. I love it. I didn't know that background with you, by the way, about, you know, growing up on the dump with rats. That's crazy.
Oh yeah, dude. It was bad. My mom was, I was raised by a single woman. And then my dad was abusive, used to beat my mom. He was a drunk. Long story short, to make it a happy ending, they're remarried now. My mom's been married 3 times to 2 guys. She got a divorce from my stepdad. Right. My last name's actually Trupp. I was adopted by Don Cass, which was my mom's middle. Yeah, there's a whole thing there. But you know what? The reason why I do this stuff, and I always do, I do what I do because I do it for you. That's one of my statements that I say a lot. But the thing happens to be that this has given me the life. I say this. I love to say this. It's taken me places I never thought I would go. It's had me meet people I never thought I would meet. And it's given my family the life that I never thought that I'd give them. That is the reason why this is the greatest industry God ever created. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. So anything else you want to add here, Peter? I mean, anything? I mean, people know Wunderite. We can talk about. Oh, you know the other thing? Jake just used this for the first time. So we're trying to get this. We're on the last minute on this big plumbing account. It's like $275,000, and we can't get the owner on the phone because he's on vacation. We got 2 weeks before renewal. We're trying to get the premium down, not renewal, actual new business. Trying to get the premium down, and the underwriter says, "Hey, fill this supplement out. It's a different one, so I can take this to management and see what we can do." We can't get the owner on the phone. So we fill out the supplement the best we can based on other stuff. There's like 6 or 7 questions. And the lady said, send us the questions. So I said, this is time to use Wunderite. So we select the questions. We send them the email. The lady, the email, she forwards it over to him. He's literally tells us at a later time that he's sitting on the beach and he's blah, 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 and he just fills out those questions. It was amazing that she hits us back and says, hey, he answered the questions. Where do I send them? He got into Wunderite and the shit was already in there. So we had sent him those questions that we needed answered. He had filled them out, hit send back, and that stuff had pre-filled back in. My agent was able to just boom to PDF out the door. I don't think people realize, like, because I wouldn't even have thought that shit. You know, I'd have thought, well, I got to get on the phone with him and I got to type we got to get him on, you know. But,
well, think about it. Imagine you're sitting there on the boat on the way out, you know, before you're 35 miles offshore and you got some important thing. Like, you don't want to be on the phone. But if you got an email, you click a link and it's like, hey, let me just answer 3-4 questions. I can do that in 30 seconds.
That's right. You got some.
I mean, hey, listen, as cool as you are as an insurance agent, people don't want to talk to you all the time. We hired an intern, Jason. We hired an intern one time because I set up the client portal. I was like, hey, we need to go away from mail and we need to turn on like the online account access. This makes sense. Mm-hmm. You know, this is back in, 2015. We hired an intern to call all of our customers one summer. It's like thousands and thousands of customers. The average response, right, was like, not average, but occasional response was like, F you. Why are you calling me? How did you get my number? Don't call this number. And so I think as much as like agents love to be like, oh, we're so different, we are amazing. We do good stuff. We give back. Good people, good service. Like the average person's like, don't talk to me.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like, I listen, we have some great customers. I'm not saying like we have some amazing customers, my family business, amazing people. They love spending time with us, great relationships. I'm saying if you do a lot of personal lines accounts, if you do thousands and thousands of personal lines accounts, the average person doesn't want to talk to you.
Right. Now, all these agents, well, you should be calling your renewals every year. Dude, I'm telling you right now, they don't want to, I don't want to, my agent doesn't need to call me. My electric guy doesn't need to call me. My CPA doesn't need to call me. There is a relationship that can be built by using technology and tools. But
100%.
Literally, as you said.
Do your job. Do your job. Do it better. And people will love you for it.
You know what? I was reading something lately, and it kind of clicked with me. And then I was reading something Warren Buffett said that, oh man, now I lost it because I was trying to think of the people. You said, do your job and people, oh God, I can't remember it now. Son of a gun. Can't remember it. You read the book, have you read the book Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell?
I believe I have. Yeah, that's the one where he talks about like the kids that are born at the beginning of the season versus the end of the hockey season. Like who's going to be more likely to have success.
So I got my mind blown on that. Seth Godin, Godin, however you say it out there across America. Seth Godin was in one of his posts in the last 2 weeks. He said he was talking about this thing, which has nothing to do with it, and then he jumped into, if you've read Malcolm Gladwell's book, where he talks about hockey players who are in January, this is what he says. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I've read that. He says, we'll take it one step further and realize that if we moved the age for half of the Canadian kids to June 1st, we could create another NHL that would be rival to the other NHL only because we moved it 6 months. Now, come on, Peter. You see what I mean?
That seems a little crazy, but okay.
If most of them are born in January, February, March, then if we can get the ones that are born in June, and because the ones who are born June, July, and August, and we make the cutoff date June 1st rather than January 1st, we should be able to, that would give those kids an advantage over the kids who were born in May, April, and March. I
was going to make a joke and say if we did that, what would happen to all the insurance agents, you know? Because Tom Brady's second career was going to be an insurance agent. If you ever watched that video, I'm writing a book, and I start with like Tom Brady literally, there's a scene where he's like in tears, and he's like, I got the call, they pulled me in the draft, and he starts crying, and he's like, I didn't have to be an insurance agent. And so that's why I tell people, I'm like, look, if insurance is good enough for Tom Brady, it's good enough for everybody.
God dang it. I wish I could get there enough time because I'm not going to be able to get there enough time. I even think that I put it on my TikTok because I don't have much on TikTok, but I have a thing on Facebook. And if you're writing a thing about this, you've got to use it. And so I took that video. He's crying. Okay. And I could actually do a share on here.
I can send you the link. I got that.
Dude, but I redid it. I did it cast style, right? And I did it as if he's crying, he's saying it, and then I cut into it because I don't think that people really truly understand what he said. What he was saying was that the best job in America is an insurance agent. He just, because that's what he was going to do, he just got saved by football, right?
That's what I'm saying.
A lot of people, I know, a lot of people think, oh, he's saying football's the greatest. No, he's not, you know? Do you know his dad? Have you met his dad? I mean,
life insurance.
Yeah. Have you read it?
I haven't met his dad, but you know his name, Tom Brady Sr. He's a life insurance agent. He probably kills it.
Yeah. You think? And he probably deals with all just the big names, so he's selling multi-million-dollar freaking. Oh my God, dude! Come on, man, that's got to be amazing.
So that's what I'm saying. If we change the date, you know, the whole hockey thing and the outliers, we might see that like more people, less amazing athletes are going to do insurance. Might be a problem.
I actually think
we got to call Seth back.
I think that's a good point, dude. That's a good.
By the way, for the record, so can I just say, so this plumbing account that you were telling me about, you guys literally use this, close the deal.
Yeah, And we did not get the package. We just got the work comp. That's all we were going in after. But yes, we did.
All right.
Because
got to lead with the comp.
Because the situation that we got, we were able to get a little bit more credit on it, and we were able to get it. And it had to do with the 4 questions and the fact that we had to get these. These questions were questions I have never been asked before. You have to be a plumber, and this is a commercial plumber. They do a lot of city jobs. So these are crap I just didn't know. And the guy said, we're not going to give you any more credit unless you get it. Boom, we shot him those questions. Boom, he filled them out.
What are you going to do to get the rest of the account? What's the plan now? Like, you used Wunderite, you closed the deal. I love that, for the record. But like, what's the plan to go get the package and everything else?
Correct.
The
So
home, the auto, the life.
Correct. Yeah. So our thing right now is that we go in on work comp only, and we give what we call our pledge of performance. Our pledge of performance says that we will do these certain things, and we have found out that if we do those things, that Jim, you will probably become our customer next year on the package. But since we focus on the work comp, now we will have many times where they'll say, hey, listen, it's all or nothing, right? Then we do it, right? But that's where we try to drill home. And dude, we get those customers. Now we're just started in the last 2 to 3 years writing whales and doing this. And my producers have just been out a year, but already they're having those conversations. That's the thing. Like my people that are coming due 12/1, my guys are already calling because their mods are coming due, and they're calling and saying, hey, did your current agent, I didn't get it last year, but current agent, have they got the mod? Oh, they haven't. Oh, have they called you with it? Do they not normally do that?
Did you clear your loss reserves, all this stuff, right?
And they're like, I don't know. I think my agent should be doing it. Has he said anything? Has he or she said anything in the past? No. And, you do all this stuff. Let me tell you something, Peter. This is funny.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so my closer. Okay, so first of all, I believe that you ask all the questions up front, and then when you get the answers, you actually just closed it on the end. If you wait till the end to try and close, it's too freaking late. That's always my thought.
Yeah.
But whenever I go in, I do my 20-minute thing. I try to tell them about this. I want to write the workers' comp, I leave getting 5 years loss runs, 5 years payroll, maybe the work comp audits. I go back, I do the work comp, I do the mod advisor through Todd Thames. Everybody should check that out. Boom, I put it in there. I go back, and okay, so now I have all these paperwork. I'm going through this stuff. I'm explaining to their mod, blah, 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 all the stuff we do. And what I always do to end the conversation and ask for the business is I have paperwork kind of scattered all over the place. Not too bad. I try to use ink to write on it, because I want them to understand that this is a complicated process. And so I will say to them, well, after discussing this, I just have one more question for you. Is this the year? And I sit there and I wait. And they'll look at me and they'll say, what do you mean? Is this the year that he walks through that door with this plan? Is this the year? Well, probably not. Is this the plan that you've told me you wanted? And that's where we walk into, here's what I need you to sign. I need you to sign this broker of record form. It's not going to change your policy number, not going to change your premium, not going to change your coverage. Only thing it's going to do is give us the opportunity to be able to look at your insurance and get prepared for creating and helping this mod as we go forward, right? That same kind of type of thing. But that's my thing. That's my thing. And so these new producers are like, there's no way you do that. So I'm 100%. Like, all right, come on in, and so we did it. And the first year they did it, and I got rejected on the business. I didn't get the business, okay? So to be truthful on that one. The second one I did, and it was really, really cool because it gets tense. So let me ask you this question. Is this the year? They always sit there and go, like, what is he talking about? And it just
I was hoping you were going to do the awkward silence on the podcast, because then people would be listening and be like, hey, is my phone broken or whatever? But you just, because I love the awkward. I'll wait a minute.
I will too. It does not bother me. It took me a while. In my early 20s, man, it was like, oh.
Well, and if you're in your early 20s, like, don't do that because, like, you don't have the confidence. You don't have the skill set. They're going to be like, is this the year? Like, what? And I think, back to our podcast from, 6 years ago, the reason I got my designations is like I need to have some more confidence just around like the technical skills of insurance.
Well said. You did. And you have more things behind your name than I've ever seen.
Too many. But yeah, the way I won some of my biggest accounts before business school, same thing. You put the whole, like you find all the challenges and you're like, hey, we could fix this tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But you gotta be like, hey, you gotta get this guy comfortable with firing his golfing buddy, from high school.
It is.
And that's, and so you basically help them come to the realization, as much as I like my guy from high school and, hopefully we'll still play golf after the fact. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's not doing his job.
Yeah. A lot of guys around here, too, start with a direct carrier, and then they get big, right? They're now $300,000 in premiums 6, 7, 8, 10 years ago. They went to their buddy who does auto and home. Jake's working on one of those right now, and he's not going to get the business this year because they don't have enough time to quote. I told Jake, I said, this guy straight up said, I've already talked to my buddy. He knows that I'm too big for him, and he knows that I'm shopping out. I'm only picking one agent, and it's you, right? So, I told Jake, I said, during this year, to massage that conversation, I'd ask permission if you could call the agent. Take the agent out to lunch, right? Get to know him. Let him know that, hey, I mean, I want to know the things this guy knows. And I want him to know I'm not going to touch his auto or, his home. He's just basically allowing me to have the commercial. Come up with some stuff like that. Do some stuff different. They're doing a bunch of stuff. I told him something I do. I mean, we're just talking.
This is asymmetrical game you got going on here. It's like, what does winning mean for his current agent? What does winning mean for you? I mean, it's interesting.
That's right.
We got to do. I want to hear the follow up of what happens. I love it.
August 13th of last year, Cass. It was a Friday. Cass decided, hey, I called up my client in July and I said, hey, I know you're having staffing problems. I need to learn about you. It's my largest client. I said, can I come to work for you? They said, are you serious? I said, yeah. April 13th of last year, I suited up, 2 hours away. It's an assisted living facility. I watched them take care of people. I worked all in there. I did the trash. I took care of. I said, because they were so short-staffed, they had supervisors doing the trash and stuff. I was like, no. You guys give me that job, and then you do that. Dude, I learned so much about the account. When I remember I told you guys at Key West that I closed it?
Yep.
The board brought it up, or the CEO brought it up to remind them that I had worked for them last year. I mean, dude, come on, man.
Dude, talk about going and write your next assisted living account. You know the terminology. And this is one of the things I talk about is know the lingo. Don't use insurance words. Use the words from the business that you're working with.
That's right, bud.
And what better way to learn it than to go work for them? I've never heard that before. You got to do a whole thing just on that.
Dude, I did it with railroad contractors. Clifford Matthews with Matthews Dirt and Son Contractors. It's how I got into railroad contractors in the late 2000s. Is I went and worked with him and all these other contractors. I tell my boys, or my dudes is what I call them. I told my dudes this morning, I said, hey, when you get on that job site, there's just not one company. There's 4 or 5 supervisors of other companies that are out there doing their part. And then they see you, they're like, who's that guy over there? And they're like, oh, that's our insurance agent. He's just one. Hey, come on. Then you want to talk about
Done it. When I sold marinas, man, I'd talk to the general manager. I'd go to all the locations. You got to do it. You got to go that extra mile. And if nothing else, especially if you're new to the industry, you were going to learn so much from being boots in the ground.
Yeah, so much. That's what I tell my boys. That's what they lack. They got the sales skills. They don't have the experience. And you just takes getting out there doing it. Peter, this has been fantastic. Loyal listeners, I know that you feel the same exact way. And you can see that Peter does what he does because he does it for you. It doesn't rhyme the same, but the meaning is still the same. Peter, anything you want to say to wrap up, buddy?
Yeah, listen, I think one of the biggest things that I'm doing is I'm able to travel and meet agents across the country. I love the diversity of approaches, like the conversation we're having right now. And I would love nothing more than, if you're an agent, connect with you. I want to learn from you. I want to see how you do business. I want to see reasons why you think Jason's approach is wrong, if that's possible.
Yeah, true.
And please add me on LinkedIn, share your frustrations, share your biggest wins, ask for help. Tell me what you really think about Wunderite. I'd love to hear and love to improve. So hit me up, check us out. Would love to learn more and connect.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a fantastic. I told them, if you're watching YouTube, I've been trying to get them to stop. They wanted to clap. I had to let them as we get ready to go. Peter, you're fantastic, buddy. And this is just the beginning of just dominance, right? We put in our time. We had these ideas. They said that we were wrong. The old guard said, you're just getting out there and sell insurance. And with all due respect, we wouldn't have what we have today without that old guard. They laid the road that we travel upon today. Now, they may have led a brick road, and today we're tarring and concreting that sucker up. So it's tough, because that's what we need. Is we need those gateways. We need something that directs us, something that takes us the right way, because the independent agent channel is what it is, and it is the best because of people like you, Peter, and people like so many people out there. But you stood up. You said, I'm going to go get millions of dollars, and I'm going to put it to help insurance agents. That's what I'm going to do, and that's why you're going to win. and I greatly appreciate everything you do. And to all you loyal listeners out there, you know what I do because I do it for you. Tell me your thoughts and tell me your ideas, and I'm going to tell the world what you have to say. This has been Jason Cass, and he is Peter MacDonald. You've got to at least try one day his granola. He makes it homemade. He sent me some. It's fantastic. Be sure to hit him up on LinkedIn and tell him you want some. We are out.